Hi, everyone. Welcome
Hi.
to our election love streaming. I am Sarina, and that is Tara. And together we are, oh, which way do I turn? I will eventually get this. We are Tarina.
Yeah.
We should have a blooper reel at some point. So, if you joined us last night, you probably have an inkling of what tonight's going to be like, although we don't because that's how we roll. We do have a plan, and so we'll do some readings. We're going to riff because that's what we do, and we'll kind of see where the evening takes us, and then we'll end with a beautiful exercise to get you ready for bedtime or middle of the night time or dinner. What other, let's see, before you go to work. So I know, like, my family in Thailand right now, it's 8 a.m. there. So
Like tomorrow.
12-hour difference. So wherever you are in the world, we hope that you enjoy our time. Oh, we should start there. Tara, your hair looks amazing and very different than it did last night.
It does. Thank you. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't do that. That makes it messy. Now I have to fix it. Thank you, Valerie. Yes. I got my hair did.
I washed mine, which, if any of you know me, is the only time I've washed it this month, but it's still drying and it's very long. Oh. So,
and your makeup looks spectacular. Like, you have like this beautiful, like, you just look so spectacular. You're glowing and your makeup is good. You just,
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, I think all of this is MAC today. And I finally found a foundation that works with my skin color. That was quite the feat. I think I tried 4. But I worked out. So I put this on at like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock this morning. I worked out. I worked all day, and I took a shower. I didn't wash my face in the shower, so I won't like lie to everyone and say, wow, look at the makeup. I made it through a face wash. It didn't. But I mean, that was a very long day of making. So,
and it looks as fresh as if you just put it on. So,
well, thank you.
Lovely.
I am running an experiment right now. I guess I'll talk about. Should I do that? No, I'll read first, and then I'll talk about the experiment.
You tease. Okay.
Such a tease.
Such a tease.
So, as has been the rule of thumb for my election love streaming, I'm reading again from Warrior Goddess Way. So I opened up to lesson 7, which is on authentic awareness. Now I want to read the quote above the part I was going to read. So I'm going to read the quote first.
Please read the quote.
When we really start to take a look at who we think we are, we become very grace prone. We start to see that while we may have various thoughts, beliefs, and identities, they do not individually or collectively tell us who we are. It is actually astounding how completely we humans define ourselves by the content of our minds, feelings, and history. Bada Shanti. Have you ever noticed that you often look simply to confirm what you already think you will see? Or what you often listen to confirms what you expect you will hear? When we do this, we live our lives based on what we think we will experience, rather than actually having an experience. Fresh and new in the present moment. As a result, things rarely turn true, as we more than likely will get what we are already expecting. Even when something else is present, we often can't see it because we aren't open to the possibility of its existence. It's like eating porridge at every meal because it is familiar, and ignoring the glorious buffet overflowing with delicious, mouth-watering foods that surround you. I call this the trap of living from the mind rather than living from the heart. When we live without being conscious of what's happening in the present moment, our mind takes over and our thoughts end up dictating and therefore limiting our experience. Once you start paying attention to the thoughts that arise in your field of consciousness, there's something else you will notice. Your thoughts are rarely about the present moment. As women, we often define ourselves and the world around us from the well-trodden past, which doesn't allow us to be in vibrancy of the ever-changing present. The mind spends much of its time worrying about the past or fretting about the future, and in the process, you miss the only life that ever happens, the moment you are living in right now. So I thought it was really lovely to open to this page today. And especially with the US election happening and polls closing at this moment, I've noticed a lot as ads have shown up on like my Facebook feed and, all the curation that happens with algorithms or whatever, that all these things show up. And it's interesting to see how quickly things digress because people aren't actually listening to what's going on, or we're really not present with each other. And so for me, there's been this whole process, in particular yesterday and today, as we've been doing the love streaming, to sit with that, to notice and open my awareness to the places where I'm not present, to where I'm allowing myself to get distracted. And I was talking to Heather Ash earlier today, and one of the things that I noticed was I was going to go to the gym at 6:00 this morning, but I was in like the zone, and I was really working and feeling like I was going to knock this thing out.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, I decided to move my gym time to later on in the afternoon. And part of the reasoning behind that was I noticed yesterday I was great all day until I hit like late afternoon, and I was so tired. And normally I nap during that time, but I was trying to like get some things done. And so I forewent my nap and instead watched myself spin out on social media and then put my phone away. It was like 5 minutes. I make it seem like it was this like long adventurous scroll down Facebook. It wasn't. It was seriously like 5 minutes. But it was long enough for me to track and open my awareness and notice that I was just like reaching from habit. So then today I was like, I think I'm going to go to the gym at 3:00 or 4:00 so that I can basically nip my spin out before hopefully it occurs again. And I really listened to my body. And so I was going to go at 3, and then I decided to go at 4. And I was so grateful that I went, and I had one of the best workouts of my life. It was so good. My brain was not like overworking during the workout. I was just focused on the workout. And I don't want to say I wasn't concerned about the election. I was definitely concerned, but I wasn't like checking my phone every 5 minutes. Yeah. So that was really beautiful to be like present with that.
Yeah. My experience is interesting. Over the last couple of days, I've been tracking it as well. And, yesterday I had this experience. I woke up and it was, good. I felt really productive. It was great. And then this thing happened, I want to say by mid-afternoon, where my whole body got really buzzy and I could feel it like all of this energy just ramping up inside of me, and not like in a really like, oh, this is great buzzy way, like really uncomfortable. And and it didn't feel great. It felt like really crappy. So I had to like take myself, and I was trying to focus, and I kept trying to focus, and eventually it became like I can't even focus. So I like just stop everything. And I was grateful I had that space. I was able to stop for a little bit, and I found this thing on Spotify that I was like going for like things to reduce stress. But anyway, it was like these neural beats, and it's like, this will help you relax. I'm like, I don't know, maybe. So I'm like, I'll try it. And so I sat in my chair, not at my desk. I moved and I listened to this, whatever it is. I don't know. I'd never listened to it. And like, it's got these beats that are kind of underlying the actual music, right? And it actually started to work. And I started to feel relaxed. And I was like, interesting. So what I took from that, and it's funny because I was talking to someone last night and they're like, well, maybe you shouldn't, start the day like absorbing all the news like that way. I should do it. And I'm like, yeah. So I let myself this morning, I dipped my toe into the news just to kind of catch up, but like just for like a few seconds and then stepped out. And I found myself so incredibly grateful. So clearly I had a hair appointment to see fancy hair. And so I was really grateful that the hairstylist was able to take me this afternoon. So I spent like 3 hours, like 2.5, 3 hours in the hair salon, not dealing with anything that would be upsetting. Yeah, and she massaged my head. Oh, can we just stop? I'm going to take just a moment. Can we appreciate? This is so if you know, I do a lot of like fantasy colors and vivids, which generally means when they put that stuff in your hair, when they wash it out, they don't do this wonderful super massage and they use fairly cold water to keep the color there because that's what they do. And it's good, right? Like that's the responsible thing to do. So your color stays, but you don't get that like extended head massage. It feels really good. But because I didn't do that today and I had this put in and it's been so long, I was just like sitting there going, yeah, it was I just want to like acknowledge how good it felt. To feel like this really warm water pouring over my head and this beautiful massage and everything. So it was so lovely. And we had good chat. And, we just talked about our lives and what's going on. And, like your hairdresser chat, girl talk.
You know.
You do know. So, yeah, it was just the same hairdresser. Shout out to Cozy. Woohoo.
I washed my hair. Oh, obviously, I washed my hair tonight.
Yeah.
I washed it with cold water, and I did try to massage my head. And let me tell you, it is not the same thing to wash your hair with apple cider vinegar and try to scrub your head. It does not feel like you are on your knees in the bathtub with your head.
Like, can you hear the dog chewing their bone now? Like, can you hear that scrape? Okay, you can. Sorry, anybody. That's Robin.
But then I didn't want to be rude.
No, I know. And so I was wondering, but if I take her bone away, that's mean. She's really enjoying it. She's like 5 feet away from me. So if I get up and randomly disappear for a second, you're like, Tara, where'd you go? That's because I decided that we had enough. And Robin will be removed with her bone to another space. We'll just do that. I won't take her bone away. I'm not like some kind of monster. She's happy. Here, let me see. Can I show you Robin? You see there's Robin.
Hi, Robin.
Robin's chewing her bone. She's very happy. Would you want to disturb that happy dog? I wouldn't.
So how is everyone tonight? How are you all feeling? What are you needing? Let her enjoy her phone.
Right? Let Robin have
that kind of joy, right?
Mm-hmm. Robin's very aware and in the moment. Her awareness is on point. She's like, this bone is the best. But yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else I did today to really ground. Well, I listened to Heather Ash this morning, and that was really nice. I also used the Pomodoro technique a lot today. So I worked for 25 minutes and then took a 5-minute break, and then worked for 25 minutes and took a 5-minute break. And that really helped break up my day. The feeling of impending doom, just like from the world. I mean, there's just a lot of tension. And so I was like, you know what? I really just need a technique. And so I went to my warrior goddess tools and was like, sacred time management. What a great idea. And it worked really well. I like cranked through my to-do list, and I kept setting my intent, like stay focused, get things done, eat well. I ate really well today. Hydrate. I've been hydrating all day. Right now I'm having a lovely hibiscus tea. and water.
Damn. Yum. I'm not.
I'm
I'm having a
right
Diet Coke.
now. I'm keeping an eye on the poll results, which stresses me out. Sweetheart, if it's stressing you out, then don't do it. I mean, don't like stick your head in the sand. You know what? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Okay, so we have to be able to hold complexity. So we don't want to bypass and like not know what's happening and stress and do that. And we also need to be really conscious of the places where we get taken out. So I know that I get taken out when I start getting obsessive about which states are like tuning in at what time. Like historically, what I would do is sit by the TV or refresh my news browser to see like what was happening every second. And what I learned during the last election was that that's not healthy for me. Now, that may be perfectly healthy for you. I just noticed that my heart rate was going up and I was tracking like whether or not I was able to sleep. Like it was just not a good scenario. So we're giving you permission to take care of yourself, and we don't want to stick our heads in the sand. Okay, I'm getting off the soapbox.
No, it's not a soapbox. It's so true. And it's such a tricky thing to do. So, because I've been feeling this myself, right? And I think, we all go through periods where we're feeling this. It's like we want to know what's going on. We want to be aware, right? Like we don't want to be like, oh, I don't care. Like we want to know and be aware and, so that we can take appropriate actions and do all the things we want to do. And we want to be able to hold ourselves through it and not overload ourselves. And it's really a dance. For me, it is. I mean, it's this balance of, okay, how much is enough? Right? When do I have the peace I need? And when am I just getting stuck now in the loop? Because with both social media, news, all of them, it just loops and loops and loops. So how do I get, the pieces I need? So for me, like I will watch the news in the morning. And that's it. Like I don't check, unless something specific comes up that I go search it out for. But I watch like a half hour in the morning of a really specific program that I find is, for the most part, good for my nervous system. Doesn't get me too wound up. And then I move on. And I don't go back. I don't watch the news later. I don't watch it all day. And that works for me. Right. So it's just, I've had to play with it. And even yesterday, like I said, there was that like, maybe that's too much right now. What information did I really want and need? Yeah. And what was more feeding like a gossip thing, right?
Because it's going to be different for each of us.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like what works, and that changes day to day. But it's okay to turn it off. Like it's not, because then I would feel bad for the times when I couldn't do it. If I wasn't like watching what was going on or keeping myself aware, then I'd be like, oh, you're just putting your head in the sand. You should be stronger. You should be able to deal with this stuff. Like, well, that doesn't help either. That just made me feel worse. So that's my stance.
It's this place of like, for me anyways, of finding what's uncomfortable because it's heart-wrenching or devastating or rage-filling, and what's going to actually take me out. And the taking me out is what I'm trying to avoid. As a social worker, I spent years in burnout, right? And so like, I know what it's like to be taken out over and over and over again. And like, we're not helpful in the world when we're constantly getting taken out by all of the atrocities that are occurring like around the world. It's really funny, Tara, that you're talking about like a half hour. My whole body was like, you listen to a half hour of the news every day, because that feels so overwhelming to my system. Because I do the daily drive on Spotify. And so I get, I don't know, it might be like 10 minutes. And then I get a bunch of songs that are all of like my favorite songs. So I feel like really jazzed up. And then it gives me like 3 minutes of the world basically what's happening around the world in 3 minutes. And so it was hilarious because after I left the gym today, I was like, oh, I forgot to listen to Daily Drive because I've been doing other stuff. Mostly I was listening to The Hobbit and Harry Potter soundtracks because that's what I jam to when I'm working. And so I put on Daily Drive and it got to like the 3-minute world report. And there are so many things happening tonight, or today. There was something happening in Austria. There was, I don't know, I want to say like mass killings in France and Nigeria, Thailand. I mean, there are things happening all over. And so it was fascinating because I couldn't even listen to like the whole 3 minutes. I think I listened to like 90 seconds of it, like a minute and a half. And then I took a breath and I was like, I just got grounded. And so I went into the house, I started cooking. And once I was cooking, I was like, okay, now I can listen to the rest of it. And so for me, there's this place of like setting boundaries with myself.
Yeah.
And paying attention to what can I actually do that will support me while I'm listening to it or watching it or whatever. Because what wasn't helpful was being in the car. But once I was cooking, because it's something that I love doing, it was filling me up simultaneously while I was taking in all the information.
Nice. Yeah. So. Cooking. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of that balance. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll see how it plays day to day. Yeah, I mean, and actually, when I say it's a half hour, it's probably about 25 minutes because they flip, like it's a national program, and then it flips, and there's weather involved, and a lot of it I watch because I just like the interesting. I love to watch the banter between the people that are there and the way they talk with each other, and I just kind of I've been watching the same program for years, and I've just kind of like fallen in love with some of the folks. So
that's fine.
Yeah. So I just like, that's my morning jam. And yeah, and it's only half hour. And then I'm like, okay, time to get work, get my coffee, trudge to my office. Ooh, look at your hair. How fancy. I know, it's just my hair. You do that. Yeah. But it's just the way it's like all to the side.
A wet mop. My towel is getting too heavy.
Oh, looks good. Just kind of give a shake. Yeah. There you go. Very nice. Yeah, so I hope my hair was like that long too. That would be really good.
I'm watching the chat now. There's quite a bit of stuff happening over here.
Stuff in our chat.
I asked myself, what do I need to see on the news, and then search for it online, read it, and I'm done. Yeah, that's a great strategy as well, is to, if you're like listening to something and you're like, oh, that seems important, you can quickly Google it, or nope. I'm trying not to use like, this is the one you should use. But you can quickly search for it on the web and find, the key points of what's important. And you can also get the play-by-play, like if you need that and that feels supportive to you. No news today, just outdoors, just quiet. Tomorrow when I wake up, no matter who is president, my life is pretty much going to be the same and still going to have challenges. I'm not going to stress about this. Yeah, Leslie. And so taking care of yourself and doing what you need to do for you. I love going outside. I am a huge proponent of getting outside to get grounded and present. Been sitting with clients since noon, just finished, and have stayed away from the news to reduce my own stress. Yeah, that's so necessary right now. Yeah. And if you have a therapist and you're stressing out and you need support, make sure you reach out to your therapist. That's what I told my clients this week. I was like, if you need support, I'm available for emergencies. Because
you're such a good therapist.
Well, this is like monumental.
I know it's stressful, but I'm just saying, not everybody, just because, it's not an assumption that all therapists are going to like be, and I know, and be fair, not all therapists have the capacity to do that. So I'm not saying they're bad therapists when I say you're a good therapist, but I just think it's sweet that you did that. Like, and I have to qualify everything because, like, well, I didn't say they were bad because I don't like bad and good, because we all do what we can to our capacity. But I just think that's sweet.
Well, thank you.
I'm allowed to think you're sweet.
I appreciate it. I think you're sweet too.
Really? Me?
I do.
Aw, thanks.
What are you doing?
Tracy had a Reiki share and went on a long walk. Nice.
Ooh, that sounds lovely.
Very nice. Yeah. Sometimes long walks can be so good, right? Like they give that space for you to get out of your head or either get into your head or out of your head, depending on what you need. But it can shift, I guess, how you're thinking.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Because it changes that movement.
It does. I'm listening to Daryl purr next to me as I pet his head. And it reminds me of how cats purrs. I don't actually know what the science is behind this, but there's something about cats purrs that help reduce stress. I imagine that's the same with puppy breath. Yeah, I feel like I'm just making up studies.
Puppy breath is nice. I had smelled the puppy breath the other day because I have a fairly new grandpuppy. She's not even 8 weeks old. Her name is Juniper, and I called her Junebug.
Aww.
So I hear I'm talking about my family, but I think it's okay that I'm talking about their puppy. So before they got the puppy, they were going to call her Rose. Right? And I thought that's really cute. And then they got her, and here's what it tells you. She is sassy and feisty, and they decide she is clearly not a Rose. Like, she needed something. She's a Juniper. She needed a more sassy name. Like something. So I was like, yeah, the just name doesn't work. I'm like, oh. So I call her my little Junebug. And she's really cute and sweet and little. And then, she's just the newest of my grandpuppies. I have 3 now.
So many grandpuppies.
I know.
Oh, speaking of animals,
mm-hmm.
So I had this really interesting experience with my snake today. She was doing this weird thing. She was crawling underneath her, not maybe crawling, slithering underneath her water dish, which is very unusual. She's never done that. So I thought maybe she was hot. I don't know. It was really hilarious watching me try to figure out what was wrong. So I thought she was hot. So I turned the lamp off, and then I came back a couple hours later, and I went in to look at her, and there was snake shed everywhere, and her water dish was tipped over. And I realized what she did was she was using the water dish to help get her shed off. And I was like, this is so fascinating. If I'd actually been paying attention and not just frantically trying to figure out, that's weird. Why are you doing that, Anana? I probably would have noticed that she was shedding. Instead, I was just chasing her around the enclosure, which is not what you're supposed to do when the snake's shedding. Trying to figure out what was wrong. Sometimes you need to be left alone. That's
many times.
Really was.
Yeah, many times beings need to be left alone.
He was like, Mom, just leave me alone.
Just let me be. Stop it. Stop fussing.
Yeah. Right. Often do we fuss.
All right, I'm gonna read one poem. I have a couple poems to read tonight.
Please read poems.
I have poems. So just like where I'm finding these poems, there was way back when, at the beginning of May. Way back. Oh, look. Oh, yeah. Way back at the beginning of May, we had Warrior Goddess Day.
We did have Warrior Goddess Day.
And we put together these resources. And so we created a page of some poetry that was submitted by some of the Warrior Goddesses in our community and Heather Ash and all of that. And we made this webpage. And so it's warriorgoddess.com/giveback poems, if anybody cares to look. But anyway, there's a bunch of poems on there. And I was like, I want to go read some of the poems. So I've got this one. And it's not, I'm going to start with this. I have 2 poems I'd like to share with you tonight. But I want to start with this one. This one's by Rumi. It's quite a popular poem, so I'm sure some are familiar with it. But I wanted to read it to you tonight, Sarina, and to our friends at home.
Can I share something really quickly?
Hello, yes.
I thought you said it was written by my roomie, and I was like, your husband? Or Robin? And then my brain caught up, and it was like, oh, you mean Rumi.
Rumi, yeah, the 13th century, Sufi mystic, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Carry on.
Carry on. How fun. Okay. So it's called The Guest House. So I'm sure some are familiar with it, but I love this poem. Okay. I'm going to put in my best poetry reading voice. Okay. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. There, I like that one. That's poem 1. We'll stop there. I'm not gonna read them back to back. We're gonna have marination time. Poetry. Are you muted? You are. Poetry marination.
I was muted.
Is that marination? It's not. Marination is more like a submerging in.
I'm
marinating. I still can't hear
when
you.
I marinate things, I massage them first.
Is it just me that can't hear you, or is that other people that can't hear you? Huh. Hello, friends.
Hello?
Can you hear me, or can you hear Sarina, or can you hear both of us?
This is so weird.
And now we have to wait for the responses. This is an interactive part of the program tonight. I heard Sarina and Tara. So maybe it's just I can't hear you. We can hear her, but I can't.
That's funny.
Okay, I'm gonna switch my. Okay, I'm gonna change my sound.
Okay, and I'm putting headphones on to see if that helps.
There. Okay, so now I just don't have
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Hi, Sarina. How are you? I can hear you.
Thank you for the brief intermission. That was so far.
Love one.
Not sure I can handle the stress.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to do a breathing thing, or Trina, as I believe Heather Ash said earlier, and I'm loving the surrealism. Yes. So together, the two of us are Trina. And actually, I don't know if Heather Ash knows this, but earlier on a phone call, she was talking about Tara, but she said Sarina. And so she kept saying Sarina, and I was like, I don't. And then I just waited. And then she said, and then Tara, da 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 da. And so I don't know if she noticed that she did it, but I was like, yep, we're definitely Sarina.
We are. It happens.
Did T give us that name?
I believe it was T. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So if you haven't met our fire magician, T-Bird is amazing. And I'm pretty sure T was the one that gave us.
She has blessed us.
Sarina. Kind of like Brangelina. I'm sure there are others, but that's the only one I can think of.
Right. But better, like Brangelina, but even awesomer.
We are pretty awesome.
Yes, we are pretty awesome.
Shall I do some breathing exercises now, and then, or should I wait till the end?
What would you like to do? Are you feeling a breathing exercise coming through right now?
Well, I heard somebody say that they can't handle the stress right now, so I thought maybe that would be helpful.
Okay, let's do a breathing exercise.
My favorite. Okay, so get cozy wherever you are. And for some of you, that may be sitting. For others of you, it may be laying down. And you may have your eyes wide open or you may have them closed. But do whatever feels good and safe for you in your body right now. Not how it felt safe yesterday, not how it might feel safe in an hour, but just check in with your body right now. Taking a few deep breaths in, just allowing yourself to settle here. So deep breath in, big inhale, big exhale. And it sometimes helps if you make a noise when you exhale. Big deep breath in, big exhale. And then the breathing technique that I'm going to share with you tonight is one that I use a lot when I'm feeling anxious, when I really just need to calm my nervous system, when I need to center myself. And so what we're going to do, I'll walk you through the instructions first, is we're going to take an inhale and we're going to slowly inhale and then we're going to hold at the top of the inhale. Not for long, just a couple seconds. And then we'll exhale slowly, just as slowly as you inhaled or as slow as you can. And then we're going to hold at the bottom of the exhale. And then we'll rinse and repeat. And then we'll inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Okay? So, closing your eyes if it feels safe to do so, or laying down, getting cozy. And we're going to breathe in. And I'm going to count, but you work at your own pace. So if counting doesn't work for you, you can mute me. I won't be offended. But for some people, it can be helpful, especially if they've never learned this way before. So inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. So you're going to keep doing that at whatever rhythm feels good to you. And you can count or not count, but we'll take a few minutes just practicing this on our own. Few more cycles. When you're ready, finding a breathing rhythm that works for your body right now, which may be a continuation of that breathing and it may be something else. So I'd love to just check in and see if anyone has any questions or how y'all are feeling. One of the things that happens for me when I practice that is everything gets really still. Like I could cut the stillness like butter.
Mm. Everything for me just slows right down. I want to talk slower, quieter,
Yeah.
softer.
Might even dim my lights.
Mm.
Mm. Mm. Things feel more spacious as well for me. Like the world just opened up somehow.
And there's this beautiful feeling that we're sitting in the stillness together.
Mm. It's like a connection to my big soul.
Mm-hmm. Whoever's listening and joining us right now, we're all in this moment together. Mm. Thank you so much for sharing that breathing exercise.
Absolutely. It's seriously one of my favorites.
It's really good.
The other thing that I love about it is now that I've practiced it a fair amount, when I'm inhaling and exhaling through my nose, and I'm doing those long breaths, and it feels like the waves of an ocean, and it almost sounds like the ocean as I'm breathing. Like my breath has become audible, even though I'm not breathing through my mouth, and it's a really beautiful thing. And I was sitting in my yoga class the other day, and the instructor named that, and I could hear everyone around me, and it sounded like waves, like just moving in and out in the class. It was really beautiful. You're welcome, Heather.
Gives that space for awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get to, it's like it kind of just separates. I don't know, there's just a spaciousness, like you said. You just kind of allows for a different form of awareness for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Changes the awareness.
And it sort of reminds me of what happens when we're unplugged, like when we're out at Warrior Heart Ranch or out in the wilderness somewhere. After a few days of being out there, everything tends to slow down for me. Like there isn't a urgency in the same way that there is other times. Did you have another poem for us?
I do. I do have another poem every day. I like it. All right. To find it. It's on the same page. So if you're looking for the poem, that's where it is. There's some really good ones. And the last poem I want to share tonight is A Blessing by John O'Donohue and Anam Cara. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to waken in you a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays in the Keurig of thought, and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life.
Mm. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
May it be yours.
I feel blessed.
And mine too. I'm going to offer it to me. May it be mine.
May it be all of ours.
May it be all of ours.
So I'd love to do one more breathing thing. Can I do that?
Yeah. I'm so here. I'm in. I'm so all in. I'm already kind of floaty, so.
And you know this one, but I think it's helpful for us, especially on weeks like this. So the breathing that we're going to do is just a simple exercise of using our breath to pull back anything that we've left elsewhere, and then exhaling anything that's not ours. Also very helpful. You can even use it in conjunction with the holding one if you want. But it can just be a really beautiful way to loosen the tension in our body in the places where we're holding things. I think I may have even introduced it all my days are running together. Yesterday morning, when I talked about forgiveness, it was really helpful for that too. So closing your eyes if it feels safe to do so, or looking off to the side so you're not staring at the bright screen. And just allowing yourself to ground for a moment. So imagining that a taproot is dropping out of the base of your spine and going into the earth. And then imagining that the earth can help anchor you in and even be a helper during this breathing process. So all we want to do is breathe in, and you can breathe in through your nose, you can breathe in through your mouth, but what you're wanting to do is gather up any places where you may have gotten distracted today, or you may have lashed out, any places where parts of you may have been left behind, so to speak, as you inhale. And then as you exhale, we're clearing out anything that's not ours. So maybe any places where we took on other people's energy, or we took on their emotions, maybe even took on their thoughts. And so it's just a way to really help us pull ourselves back in and then clear out as well. So breathing in. And then when you're ready, breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. And so you might want to try it a couple ways to see what works for you. Right now, what's feeling good for me is inhaling through my nose, exhaling through my mouth. But you may find that breathing in through your nose and out through your nose, or in through your mouth and out through your mouth, is better for you. So play around with that. But we're just going to take a couple moments, maybe a couple minutes, and pull our energy back in, pull our emotions back in, pull our thoughts back in, and release anything that's not ours. And just a couple more cycles. And then again, finding a breathing rhythm that feels good to your body when you're ready, that you can continue to do for the next little while. Just making sure that you're fully breathing. So many of us have really shallow breaths. So you can imagine expanding your rib cage or expanding your diaphragm. And then opening your eyes when you're ready. Just allowing yourself to open your awareness to your environment. Noticing what's around you. And also noticing if anything's changed in you since we first got on this call. Hmm. Also, I'm going to sneak in a very short breathing technique too. One thing I'd love to invite you to do tonight is to practice breathing into the places that you're holding tension. So oftentimes people are holding tension right here in their jaws, in their throats, in our backs and our shoulders, in our stomachs, in our vulvas. Oddly, in our feet is another place where people hold tension. So you just want to breathe into those places and allow them to release, to open just a little bit more. letting them know they don't have to hold on to anything. Tara, any last words for tonight?
Indeed. Oh, my darlings, my loves, my beautiful Sarina. My words tonight are wherever that stillness place that, perhaps you found. I invite you to stay in that for a while and just let yourself be present. What you're feeling. Just to sit in the stillness. Sitting in this breathing and stillness with y'all tonight has been such nourishment for my soul. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. And for Sarina, my buddy. What a beautiful gift that we get to share this time together.
Mm-hmm. So fun.
Yeah. May each of us find stillness when we need it and be able to reach that space within ourselves of ease, even in the midst of whatever emotions are arising.
Mm-hmm.
Pajama Jam has been a delight.
It has been a delight.
It has been so splendid.
My prayer for all of us, however we're feeling today, is that we find compassion and grace, that we find love, unconditional love, and that we keep coming back to our center, whatever that means for you. That we stay steady, we stay steadfast. And that we keep doing what we're doing out in the world. So, sending each and every one of you my deepest love. And for those of you heading to bed, sweet dreams. For those of you getting ready to hang out for the night, have fun, be safe. For those of you waking up, heading to work, any of those things, taking care of your day, may it be splendid and perfect for you. And rumor has it that this is not the end of Election Love streaming. I do believe Heather Ash will be tuning in a little bit tonight. And we might have some replays later this week.
Aww.
So, big, huge warrior goddess blessings to each of you. Thank you for tuning in, basically to the Tarina show. That's what Heather Ash called it earlier, and I about died laughing.
It's the Sarina show.
We love you all so much, and we're just so grateful for you being here.
Love you all in great big hugs. Big hug. I'm like virtual, like computer hugging. Hug everyone. Hug.
Can you do this sacred Toltec?
Yes, of course we can. We can do anything.
Okay. So, what we're going to do, put your hands, go like this. I was like, do we fit? Okay, ready?
We do fit. It's like,
and then to ourselves. Into the world.
oh, look, Robin saw me making kisses. There she is.
Hi, Robin. Hi, sweet girl.
She saw saw me doing kissy noises, so she came over to see what I was doing. Kissies to Robin. There we go.
That's adorable.
Yeah. Hi, Robin. Hi.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Stay safe out there. Bye.
Bye.